Hi, J-Bo.
Hello, welcome to the HomeBhoys Late Podcast. It is Monday, the 9th of February, 2026. I'm, of course, Joe McKenna. We are back after what is probably the longest gap in podcasting we've had in a long time. 4 weeks since we had a podcast on here. I am joined tonight by a full squad. Mine is Scott McCory. I'm going to go through everybody's kind of trials and tribulations in January, but let's just introduce the crew. Jason Higgins out there on Wishaw.
Hello.
Hello, brother. And Longers.
How you doing, Joe? You good?
Feeling good. And a man whose username this week is Mon the One Road, Marty Flynn.
What's happening?
Oh, good. So it has been 4 weeks since we've had a podcast, and there has been a small outcry on social media as to why we appear to have gone to ground. I suppose we need to kind of give brief explanations. If I had to condense it down, I'd say, well, Jason was away on holiday, right? Marty Flynn had the lurgy. Liam's working so hard he's had to take the brushing his teeth with his feet because just to fit it in, right? And Scott can only be going through what seems like an existential crisis when it comes to Celtic. So January's been a fucking task for the HomeBhoys, plus a piss and rain, the weather, and fucking everything else. And it sounds like the most weak tea fucking excuse ever for a podcast. But at the end of the day, we don't really care.
Joe, I thought we were in the Epstein files, mate. I thought that's why
we disappeared.
I was
by the looks of things, of the only cunts that weren't. Fuck's sake.
We don't get invited to parties at all. Never made fucking Epstein fucking parties. I turn fucking parties down. Anyway, so we're back. There's loads that kind of go back on and cover, of which we're not going to do most of, because the last time we were on, the results since then have been 4-0 against Dundee United, 1-0 against Falkirk, 2-0 against Auchinleck Talbot, 2-2 against Bologna, 2-2 against Hearts, 4-2 against Utrecht, 2-0 against Falkirk, and then the 2-1 game there against Dundee at the weekend in the Cup. And we're not going to go through all that because who wants to listen to us talk about all that shit? It was fucking ages ago.
Joe, you should have put spoilers on that, man. Somebody could have missed all them games waiting until we're back on.
Somebody's just avoided all contact with media until we came back to tell them how things are going. Yeah, stay clear of that person.
Pygmy Papua New Guinea's fucking raging.
Hello, Jock. How's the Glasgow
Rangers? So I suppose where we're going to start tonight is the most pertinent and news-worthy item on the agenda, which was the boycott at the game of the weekend. We would hope to have Scott on tonight, but Scott, again, has had the lurgy. It's going around. So I suppose, the game overall wasn't brilliant. Tuning in, yeah, you want to win, but you also want to kind of to see how many people were in the stadium and how the kind of boycott went. And from reports, it was somewhere around 20 to 25,000. I can't be entirely sure about that. I think the figure might have been somewhere around that Celtic put out, maybe even less than that. And yeah, it was hastily put together, and it appeared to have quite a sizable impact. I don't know where to even start that conversation. Where do we start talking about this in terms of
where you start talking about it is it's actually quite a difficult thing to do, to call for a boycott, and it's also quite a risky thing to do, because if the boycott doesn't work, you have egg on your face. So it's like nobody who follows Celtic wants to not go to matches. Do you know what I mean? Like, we all live for the day, for the morning, getting up and going to the game. So some of us get more often than others, and some of us pay 5 fortunes to do it. It's like it's such a difficult decision. So I don't think it's ever a decision that's taken lightly. And there's been obvious debates among people as to, well, I'm not boycotting. I've paid for my ticket, I've paid for my travel, and you can genuinely understand that. Do you know what I mean? If someone had given someone the child or Christmas present and that was their first game, then stands to fucking reason that those people feel then are faced with difficult choices. So for the numbers to be so poor, it was 24,000 or 26,000 or something like that was the official numbers that I'd seen. Which would mark the boycott as a complete success. Given the
you can look back, Marty. I think similar round of the Scottish Cup last year, there was like 43,000 at the game.
Yeah.
So if you use that as a barometer, there's probably a good 20,000 didn't go.
Do you know what I mean? Like in anybody's by any stretch, that's a success. I mean, if it was 5,000 or 10,000, you know, it's a big statement. You know, and as I say, lots of people who I were speaking to were genuinely grappling with the decision about whether to go or not. Some of them did, some of them didn't. It's entirely up to themselves. I wasn't making any value judgment on any of them. Some people were abusing those calling for boycotts. It's interesting that the aggression, like people would always, you know, there was all this talk about calling people scabs and shouting at people getting out of the corporate areas and things like that. But any aggression I saw was coming from the other direction. It was people moaning and slabbering about those who called for the boycott. It wasn't the other way around that I'd seen. So not sure if that was the case with everybody, but it was certainly the case in my peer group, the people I was watching talking about it, you know. So and as I say, I had several heated conversations over the last week. A couple of people are told not to speak to me again. People I've known for a long time. I thought their attitudes were stinking. And as I say, none of it is really is any decision to be taken lately, you know.
Marty, were they all on one side? Were they all like boycotters or match goers or a mix?
They were people who were match goers who were saying we're not boycotting and whatever else. And I was going, it's up to yourselves. But as I say, the aggression was coming from their side, and I'm in a couple of different, obviously Celtic chat groups, like as we all are. We're all in different groups and buses and friend groups and whatever else. And there's one of the chat groups I've been in for a while. I just come out of it and left under no uncertain terms. But some of the stuff that was being allowed to be said, because it would have been the type of group was all very nicey and well managed and well controlled, and there was never any personal abuse. The personal abuse was flying the other day, and a couple of people called it out, and I just went, "No, it is. He's going fuck." And
That's interesting.
as I say, some people who I have a lifelong friendships with were told not to contact me again.
Well, here's my question in those situations, Marty, because I wouldn't say the only one that's going through something like that there, right? Because there does seem to be levels of division among different groups, among different buses, and we've seen that. And again, that's something that we'll talk about in a bit, when, you know, how Celtic can exploit those kind of possible gaps when they, you know, reach out to supporters to engage with them. But my question is, like, I mean, if you see the impact of the boycott on at the weekend there on Saturday, and which clearly speaks to a deeper thing of like a need and a want and an appetite for change or progress or something different. The people who are dishing at this abuse say, you know, we're not going to boycott, you're a disgrace. Like the things like that not possibly sway them, or are they just so committed to their own ideals and their own position that they're like, we don't give a fuck? Because I mean, it's undeniable that change needs to happen.
There was various arguments being made, and some people were saying, well, look, I back any action, but I don't back anything if it affects the players on the pitch. Right, so I don't know how to fuck that. Like, how do you measure that? Like, do you know what I mean? So, and then there was other people just going, I hate certain parts of our fan base, so fuck them. I'm not in this at all, you know, and it's like, that's up to yourself, do you know what I mean? But it was the abuse that was being handed out to then the people who actually were trying to do something, many of whom are a million, billion percent good Tims, good Celtic people, only doing it for the right reasons, not doing it for their own selfish reasons, doing it because they want the collective experience of Celtic fans to be improved. So it all just gets a bit much. But the proof's in the pudding, and we've all read the rundown of the collective meeting that took place last week, and as far as I can see, the consensus was that action was to be taken. It was a very unanimous thing. Some people, like the affiliation groups and stuff, didn't agree and broke away, and that's their prerogative. That's up to themselves, you know. And they have their own internal squabbles to deal with and whatever else. It's really nobody's business. It's up to themselves. I'm not a member, so it doesn't concern me. But for those amount of figures, you know, not to turn up on any match night, you know, if it was a match, first game of the season or flag day or whatever else, and 20,000 fans weren't there, there'd be fucking serious questions being asked. So, you know, it seems to me it was a success as far as that's concerned, and it's been certainly a success in the sense that they've drawn attention to the issues that they're trying to raise and the malfunction at the top of the club. I mean, the commentators on the TV the other night were talking about it, you know, and showing you the empty seats all around the ground. You know, it was prominent at the start of the match coverage, you know, so it's from that perspective in terms of raising awareness as to what the collective is trying to do and what the overall objective is. But the overall objective should be for all Celtic fans. I think it was a success.
Well,
Yeah. Go on, Jason. You know.
well, I'm just going to say, let's face it anyway, the match day experience at Celtic Park since the Green Brigade have been banned is nothing short of shocking anyway.
Well, see,
You
just
know,
don't go any further than that point. Keep your next points in your head, right? Because you're spot on. And when the Green Brigade were banned, some of those who were calling for them to be banned were fucking harping back to the days of the jungle and how we didn't need the Green Brigade then. And I was pointing out to them that the atmosphere is going to go back to a point where I always talk about a game that I was at when O'Neill was here. It was against Aberdeen. It was a 1-0 win, scored with a penalty. And it was the worst atmosphere I've ever seen in my life. You could literally hear a packet of crisps being opened in the ground. And I was saying that we're going to go back to that if this goes through. If the ultras are banned, whatever your grapes with them, and there are loads, and I have deep sympathy for many of them. But your point is so spot on, Jason. Nobody can argue that point anymore. Oh, we'll make our own atmosphere in the Green Brigade out there. No, you fucking don't. You don't.
yeah,
Simple as
yeah.
that.
No,
So sorry, you can blather on, mate.
And so I boycotted it, right? So I went in and met Sean, and we did a wee Gallagate pub crawl, and then we went to his house to watch it. On the train on the way in, I met a lad from Wicklow that I know. He lives in Motherwell. Good lad. He was going to the game with his mate who lives in Paris. So he hadn't been to Celtic Park for a year, and he'd planned this trip. So fully understand him going to the game. No qualms. There was no animosity between us in the train. They got off at Dalmarnock. I stayed on. I went into the town and went to down the Gallagate, but it was empty. This was quite early, all the same, 2 o'clock-ish, 2:30. But normally getting off at Dalmarnock, there's loads getting off. They were the only 2 getting off the train. And then we went into the Gallagate, and the pubs were empty. You know, well, there was a few people there, but then we went into the Sarahhead, met a few of my pals, and some of them were going to the game, some of us weren't. And it was all light-hearted, you know, there was no animosity between them. Everybody's got to make their own decision, as I say. I took a decision not to go, and I got a text from Eddie Toner, and he's like, "How are you feeling today?" I'm like, "Gutted." And he's like, "Same." He says, "Can't believe it." You know, the guys that genuinely do not miss a Celtic game, home or away, no going to the game because of those that run the club. And I just felt it was right to take a stand, you know, and it's worrying because if you get into the habit of this, and if it does happen again, you know, say we don't get any marked changes from the board, you know, say they don't relent and let the Green Brigade back in the stadium, they don't let fan media back into their press conferences, and Michael Nicholson stays in a job. What faces us? What future have we got as Celtic supporters? I actually think we're at the stage where we're running out of time now to appoint a proper board to take this football club going forward. I mean, the likelihood is that getting rid of Dermot Desmond's probably nigh on impossible unless somebody's got 90 million to buy him out. But surely he's going to have to say, we need to revolutionise this football club, bring this football club into the fucking modern times and start running it like a proper football club. So there's a million things I could say there, but Liam, you'd a wee point to make as well about the boycott. And
yeah, just really interested in what you both said there, and I agree with everything you've said, Jason, just now. And I was really interested in what Marty was saying, almost like around the psychology of the whole thing. And obviously, you know, we heard early last week that I think it was Tuesday, was it? The collective met and agreement was made to do a boycott. You know, my view at the time was, I thought it was I was a bit unsure about it because obviously people had bought tickets, people had made plans. It was really short notice for a game that some people had committed to, and I just had a bit of nervousness about a boycott. Full stop. I think it's not like the last throw of the dice, but it's always got to generate this level of conflict, that Marty's described a little bit there. And I'm glad your experiences weren't like that, with people that you knew and whatever. And it was interesting. I went to the game, obviously, as you know, and it was for no exciting reasons other than I had some arrangements in place that I decided just to carry on and go through with. I've been at every collective action from the start. I will support them moving forward as well. Just on the day I just made that decision to go, not for any exciting reasons at all. But it was interesting being at the game. Felt really odd. Felt a bit odd going in. I went into the lounge, and you'd have no idea there was a boycott on at all. Place was bouncing. It was as busy as any other game, which really surprised me at first, but then it didn't surprise me after a couple of minutes. I don't know why I was expecting anything different. Jason, you and I had been at some of the demos and gone in the lounge afterwards, and it was chock full of people. There was very, very few that were down supporting those earlier kind of initiatives as well. And then at the game itself, as you come out, you can see there was a lot more empty seats in the lounge area than it looked like there would be from inside the lounges, if you know what I mean. And the main stand was pretty full, but behind each goal, it was really sparse. It was really empty there. But I saw, I bumped into 3 or 4 people that I mentioned to you earlier today that go every game, home and away, who I thought probably wouldn't have been there, but you weren't surprised that they were all there. And I'm sure there was probably, I don't know what the split would be between the kind of regular away goers in terms of people that went and people that didn't go. But I just feel that this is the action that's always going to be really divisive in terms of people that just don't want to miss a game, don't want to miss seeing their team against the people that are willing to make that sacrifice and go and do it. So it's a really, it's a really strange one. It was pretty surreal, I got to say, being at the game. The atmosphere was pretty dire. It got a bit exciting, obviously, just around when we scored. A bit of singing started to get generated around the goal, and then at the start of extra time. But it was pretty eerie, I suppose, being there.
I think the people that boycotted it will be the people going forward that will adhere to direct action if any more gets called. I think those that attended the game, maybe yourself not included, Liam, but those that attended the game, they will always attend the games. I don't think anything will happen for those individuals to not go. They've just got something in their psyche that they won't not go and see Celtic, regardless of how much a shit show as you're watching, they will just go.
I think there might have been more not in my camp, but I think there might be more people that had just made arrangements or travelled over or bought tickets, whatever. I think there'd be a small chunk more that would go for a future boycott, for example, but there's definitely a massive core of ones, like you said, that just won't miss seeing their team. It just, it means more to them than the bigger picture, I guess.
Yeah, and you look at the state Celtic's in, and it can't really get much worse. The state. If Marty and Liam was to walk out the door tomorrow, what state would we be in as a football club? It would be unthinkable. We'd be lucky to finish in the top 6.
He really is the only thing that's holding every kind of positive thing together.
We're an absolute basket case of a football club.
And I have to say, his comments after the game, he sounded very tired. Like he's an old man. Do you know what I mean? He's in his fucking mid-70s. He just sounded exhausted. He just felt sorry for me at the end of the game. He'd obviously been through the ringer, but he had the whole week. He's had the transfer window, and you know what I mean? Fuck's sake.
And him and Sean Maloney have had to run the transfer window themselves.
Yeah.
With no internal support from Celtic.
See, that I find that is fucking unbelievably unprofessional.
Well, everything about our club's
but it just screams of either one, the inability to fucking properly delegate things, and 2, the inability to have somebody you can delegate to who has the fucking skills and the capacity and the fucking planning to carry out these kind of things, and the ability to co-produce and collaborate with the management team. It's basically just like, all right, there's a workload here, it's not being done. Here, listen, no way you're the manager now, he's your assistant. These guys know what you're doing. Here, fucking you take it. And you're going like, what fucking professional football club runs like that?
No.
It's a shambles. It really is a shambles.
Seemingly the only targets that they had was a couple, understandably, a couple that Nancy had picked. And the word in the street is, Martin and Maloney says, get them to fuck. And they went with their own targets. They conjured up some signings through whatever contacts they have in the football world, and that's how we ended up with X amount of loan signings, which I'm not
Well,
against.
underneath them, there's actually not a bad. The people under Tisdale actually weren't that bad. You've got that fella Cooper, who was working in South America for a while, and they brought in this guy from Chelsea, who apparently knows his fucking onions. And I wouldn't be surprised if the guy from Chelsea ends up taking Tisdale's job. They put a bit of a framework in. Do you know what I mean? But you're coming up. It's a January window. It's a shit window anyway. Usually, we rarely have decent windows in January. A lot of the players are not going to come to a club in such a fucking crisis because they're going to be going, fuck that, I'm not getting in the middle of that. And also, there's no permanent manager. So what's the vision? A manager sells a new player the vision of their club. You're my man, and you're going to play here, and you're playing with him, and we're going to win, blah, blah, blah. But everybody knows O'Neill's not going to be here in June. So it's at this time of year, like it's nearly impossible to get any sort of a player. And I predicted very early in the window that it would be really only loan deals that would come in, because they'll want to be seen to be giving the new manager money the way they were going to do with Nancy, and he would have blew every fucking wing thing. Like your man Jocelyn, there was all this row over us not fucking signing his dick in Sunderland bottom. I've been watching Sunderland here for the last 2 weeks. We're playing Arsenal Saturday. There's no fucking sign of him. There's no sign of him whatsoever. Do you know what I mean? So that was the level of player that we were going to be saddled with. Really, like a Balakwisha or whatever, you know what I mean? That level of player, and you'd have been spending money on them. What the fuck? Like, they were prepared to go for it. Like Nicholson said it on TV. We're going to fucking give this guy all he needs. Fuck's sake, could you imagine?
It was interesting, just to jump back to the boycott a little bit, Marty, on what you said there, and that's why I was hoping Scott might be on, but the collective said that they were waiting for the end of the transfer window to see how well Celtic had done, I guess, and whether that would trigger any action, which it obviously did. But it's kind of hard to know how you would gauge the transfer market. I mean, these guys we brought in, it's pretty underwhelming for me personally. The first two have started to show up pretty well, but my general view would be pretty underwhelming. But these guys could shoot us to the title, for all we know at this stage here. And
the thing is, Liam, well, first of all, you've got to be. I think no matter what, you have to be fairly realistic about all this sort of stuff, and step back a bit away from the line of fire and go, right, what's going on here? But you're right. Even like I've said it, even like what we call camp bodies, even people who are bringing who could maybe spur another player on to play slightly more better in his position. If you have 3 or 4 of those across the team, then you're hoping that does get you across the line at the end of the year. Because what if I left with a dozen matches or something? Like, it's not much. And we're still in fucking.
It was
in
more.
cups.
Yeah, it was more to make the point that we could have spent 10 million, which might have been deemed, a bit more, trying a bit harder, a bit more ambitious. But we bought Balakwisha and Tenecti for 10 million at the end of the last window. So it's
That's exactly it. They could have
proofs in the pudding, isn't it? In these
now.
things, unfortunately.
Yep. Yeah, and you won't know until the end of the year, but everybody looks back and hindsight's wonderful and all that sort of stuff. But foresight's wonderful too. Do you know what I mean? And like the bringing in Nancy at that time was just a disaster. Like, O'Neill should have been left in place.
Yeah.
And got all the transfer window stuff sorted in the autumn. You know what I mean? Because there would have been players who we were talking to maybe in the summertime who you would have wanted to go back to. And with Rodgers leaving, and there was just so much instability in that time between Halloween and Christmas. Like, it was fucking nuts. And again, it's just another like sterling example of mismanagement and how not to do something at a football club. It's just a fucking mess. Complete mess. And my only real surprise is that the sacked Tisdale. I'm surprised to let him go. Genuinely. I'm really surprised that they didn't put the fucking bar wire around him and try and protect him, because he was their only idea.
But do you not think he was like, Nancy had to go? Do you not think he was also like, come here, we'll fuck him under the bus as well? So we can at least we've done something drastic.
Absolutely, but I'm surprised they did it, because we're such a fucking badly run club.
Well, I know, but I think they expected the reaction to be like, well, fucking fair play over to him, whereas the reaction was like, What are you doing? That was his reaction. Was what the fuck are you doing? Why have you got the scan in the first place? How'd you fuck us up so bad? There was more questions than reaction, and I think that's what kind of bothered them. Like, oh fuck it, there's nothing we can do right here. And like that's the thing. I mean, they literally cannot open their fucking mouth for changing feet.
But Joe, you go back to the time, and every one of us, we all debated it when Nancy got brought in, right? Every one of us, everyone I spoke to said the same thing. Look at that squad. Look at 3-4-3. How the fuck do you get a team out of that squad? Right, the most basic fundamental thing. Nancy must have come in and been interviewed, and we've debated whether that even happened. He must have demonstrated to them. This is what I'm going to do. This is the kind of way I play. This is how I see using the existing squad until we get new blah blah blah. I mean, no one could even put that jigsaw together at any point.
Yeah, and we're not exactly football aficionados, Lee, but we can see that. I mean,
he was interviewed, and we were told. I was told at the time that they were really impressed with him. So Tisdale was there to prep him to tell him what to say. Do you know what I mean? So it stands to reason that he did a good interview. But anybody looking, I mean, I said it at the time, as you know, anybody looking at his CV was going, this is not, what the fuck? Like, he is not the type of manager you could ever put in the Celtic. He's going to get eaten alive. And so it proves. So, but again, it's more that anger of, even if they had waited to January to bring Nancy in, had his signings ready, fucking, you'd have already had a trophy in the cabinet. You'd have been 8 points clear. You'd have had a couple of pounds spent. He got the players in that he wanted on the 1st of January, and he started on the same day or whatever the fuck. Like, you can see how that might work.
Yeah.
And if he lost a couple of games in January, well, sir, so fuck. He's only new in, and he's you're 2 or 3 games ahead of yourself in terms of league points. So you could have handled that and kind of just put it down to the January blues or whatever. But fuck me, like, and the other thing is too is they let the fucking cunt run on for about 4 games longer than they should have done.
Yeah,
like he should have been out the door. So
it's just Tannadice should have been the cut.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? And there was no sign of improvement. Everybody could see he was just completely clueless. The players didn't understand what they were doing, and probably some of them too just mentally down tools on him.
Yeah,
So it's just mad. Looking back, if we win this year, it will be the greatest fucking league win in the history of fucking league wins. Like, it's with
it'll be
the disaster
it'll be
that
the
it's been.
strangest wrap up fucking DVD ever. I mean, it'll be
Like,
fucking bizarre.
mental.
I mean, Tony Roper, good luck at this one. I mean,
Absolutely
this
mental
it's
stuff
just
like
fucking
that.
like how do you dress this up as anything other than fucking like, I mean, calamities kind of along the way patched up by a guy from another era who's managed to come in and plug some fucking holes.
I know, but I'm saying, like, you could see him the other day. He looks fucked. You know what I mean? And it's not fair on Martin O'Neill either, having all that weight of the club putting on his back. He's only one man. He's not going to be here in July. So he isn't going to be there putting in the various building blocks that you need with staff members and places and putting scouts back on. He's not going to do that. So we're really, it really is just stick and plaster stuff. Nothing is being fixed. And it's likely Nicholson will go, it's likely Wilson will go, it's likely other board members will go. So the instability at the top will probably last for at least another year, if you think about it that way. As I say, hindsight's sound, but foresight is something fucking else. You need to know what's coming.
But that
so
instability requires somebody to take a commanding a leadership role, and it doesn't appear like anybody either can or is allowed to.
No, they're not. Like, Dermot Desmond doesn't give a fuck. Do you know what I mean? Dermot Desmond just wants an easy life, to go to golf matches and fucking fuck about, and he wants to know that we're not going to go bust. Do you know what I mean? Apart from that, he doesn't fucking care. Like, he's many times a year does he come to Celtic? Twice, maybe.
It must be his son that's running it now, and he's just
and he seems like a lovely dude.
That was the plan, certainly. But I mean, I haven't heard that. I haven't heard that Ross Desmond's pulling any strings. I can fucking ask and see what comes down the pipe. Because Nicholson and your man McKay are just, my God, like, you just, you know what I mean? It's just like, fucking, would you buy a used car from these two? It's like bonkers, absolutely fucking nuts. And we can all go on and on about the 70 million in the bank. There'll not be fucking 70 million in the bank now. You know,
No.
and that's why they will have been busting their fucking chops to sell Aaron Engels. You know, to try and rewrite the books again so they could trumpet the same bullshit in the summertime.
But that
You know,
just shows you how a dysfunctional football club we are. Because any decent football club, it's the ideal offer, right? If Arnie Engels had left, no disrespect to him, we wouldn't really have missed him. He's no a Jota, he's no a Kieran Tierney. When we lost these guys, he's no a Matt O'Reilly. I think he's a good player and he's got a big upside. And I do rate him. But when you're getting offered 25 million, any functioning football club would have bit the hand off them and went and spent 20 million of that on a couple of players.
Yeah.
But we just don't have that infrastructure to go and spend that money or the will to spend it. You know,
but the other thing is too, Jason, is that see, having your money's all great, but they're looking at the balance sheet and they're saying our wage bill is chronic now. It's far too high.
Yeah.
So they're looking to get the wage bill cut so that it balances out the money that they're going to lose from boycotts and the fucking not a penny more campaign and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so these people don't think like us.
I know, but Marty, like, I mean, we all kind of know this. I mean, see that you're right about that. But see that margin where they think they can live with a wage and a successful team and a certain level of player. That's an ever diminishing margin now in football.
No, it is because we didn't get into the Champions League. If we had to get into the Champions League, if we'd have beat Kyrat, you know, they wouldn't have cared. It's like Maggie. I said it here months ago. It's like Maggie Thatcher stockpiling coal. It's exactly the fucking exactly the same thing. You know, when you're protecting the share price, you're keeping the company solvent. So, you know, if there's any questions, I just go, look, it's a difficult time, but we'll get over it. We've loads of money in the bank, we're all right. You know, and it just masks the issues that you actually have, you know, and they don't have the imagination or the gumption to fix anything here. It's so plain to see. But to go back to Jason's point, the problem is what happens next year.
Oh, I know.
I think the thing is, we'll go back to the transfer window at some point, but despite everything that's happened this or last year, they still didn't have the fucking wits about them to have a striker in on the 1st of January or for the Hearts game or for any of them big things. You're like, fucking, it's incredible. Do you know what I mean? Incredible.
That's my point. Like, that's what you would have done. You'd have waited the Nancy, you'd have said to Nancy, listen, enjoy your Christmas.
Yeah.
Watch all the games. Watch all the matches. Here's your fucking Celtic TV login. We're going to keep him the fucking Christmas time. You'll be sweet. Give us your players that you want now. We go and scout them for you. Who do you want? What way do you want to play? 3-3-3, 4-4-4, 9-9-9. Not a problem. Bang. Here we go. You know what I mean? And the fucking... they were given the golden egg in O'Neill. Imagine Martin O'Neill had us turned fucking Desmond down when he phoned him that night.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Ange would have came back.
I know.
Fuck. Gardner and leave Ange.
The only other two they could have got back would have been Ange or Gordon Strachan. That's it. Because they can only go back. They can't go forward. They don't have anything. Nothing about them whatsoever.
Nah, they really.
You get back to the Eddie Howe scenario as well before Ange came in. You know,
that was mental. Again, that's totally. I mean, that like, and here's the fucking laugh of it. Jason, Dermot Desmond said to O'Neill what he should have said to Eddie Howe. That's the funny thing. Dermot Desmond says, I'm phoning you back in an hour and I want your answer. Why the fuck did he do that to Eddie Howe? He waited 2 months.
Aye.
Fuck's sake.
See, on the Eddie Howe thing, though, was it not the fact that they wouldn't let him bring his backroom staff with him? Was that not the key at the end? As to why
that was one of the things quoted. But the point being is they should have knew that at the fucking start. Like, surely it wasn't a surprise when Eddie Howe went, nah. Do you know what I mean? So what's your demands here? You want A, B, you want money? There's the money. Do you want players? There's your players. Backroom team? Okay. We've players here, we've men in here that you probably need. Why don't you keep them? Well, I don't want them. And it's exactly the same with Sean Maloney here. When Martin O'Neill left, Maloney said to them, what do you want me to do now? Do you want me to stay on as a first team coach? And they said, well, we've no problem you doing that, so we'll get rid of fucking whoever it was, Gavin Strachan, and Maloney went, no, thanks, thank you. I don't want to be responsible for somebody getting put on the fucking brew. I'll just go back to doing what I was doing in the first place.
Yeah, I know we simplified things on here, right? But again, jump into the transfer window. The story was leaked today or yesterday that Italian winger we went for, remember, and he wanted to stay at his club. But there were two wingers that got talked about at the same time, and I can't remember the guy's name, the other one. But apparently, we outbid Red Bull Leipzig or whoever he went to because he didn't want to play in the Scottish Premiership. But surely, right, maybe he's hedging his bets, but surely you know that stuff up front when you engage with his agent or you have some kind of contact with the player instead of running around with your.
Yeah, but it's not necessarily because you could have all your deals set up and then some other club finds out, like a Bundesliga club, say, find out that you're coming to him, and then you go to their agent and say, "Listen, fuck that. Tell him, ask him, does he want to come here?" That's just football. I mean, I'm sure that happens all the time. Sure, we all remember fucking Alex Ferguson fucking pulling what's his face. Remember the Uruguayan at the airport? He was going to sign for fucking Newcastle or something, and Ferguson just, here, what'd you call him? The wee cunt with the long hair.
Yeah, Diego Forlan.
Aye, Forlan. So that happens in football. Like, word gets out that players want to move, and all of a sudden, say, a team gets an injury, and they go, fuck, who's out there? You know, and the agents talk and blah, 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 you know. So we've brought in a clutch of players that nobody really knows. Like, none of us can really say he's brilliant, he's great.
Well, one of them we brought in, we knew, but then he did a revolving door. He did a Grandpa Simpson, Stephen Welch. He came, and then he went.
I mean,
he came back, and then he went back again.
Didn't he play against Auchinleck Talbot, like?
And back to Motherwell then.
I'm sure we could have done without him for that match. Like, what the fuck?
So I was at that game, right? And I thought he was our best player that day, right? He gave one ball away, but I thought he was pinging the ball about with real confidence. You know, as soon as he gets it, look up, zip, zip, zip. Complete opposite of Scales, and I'm not bashing Scales, right? But it's his big weakness in terms of distribution. He'd been in a Motherwell team that had something like 9 clean sheets in 10 games. He was a standout defender. Now, Stephen Welsh is probably never going to make it at Celtic at 26 or whatever, but why are we letting him go back to Motherwell? And then we've got two kids as our only backup for centre halves. And I'm not saying Stephen Welsh is a messiah, but it just fucking you know, you're really struggling. Why not let Murray out on loan and keep Welsh there with the less experienced guy? I mean, we could lose Trusty and Scales in any game in the next few weeks for injury, suspension, and then that's who you got going to Ibrox for 2 games.
Yeah, it's bizarre. It doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? Like,
I heard Stephen fucking Presley talking about this guy Benjamin that we bought.
Benjamin Arthur.
He says he's actually says he's a real good player. So again, you won't. This is the problem. The problem is we're at the fucking business end of the season. We've only got a certain amount of games. So if Trusty and Scales and stuff, whatever, stay fit, you aren't seeing these players. So they're only an unknown. They'll probably fuck off again in the summertime. You know, kind of barring injury or barring some sort of disaster. But at the same time too, you'd rather fucking have it's like you'd rather be looking at them than looking for them. You know, it's actually good that we managed to get anybody in. Again, even if they are just camp bodies, even if they are just to break up the training, giving new voices, whatever, fucking, as I say, keeping other players on their toes. Because it's just a disaster of a fucking situation.
Let's go through the players that we've said then, right? So we've got Joel Mvuka, signed from Laurent on loan. Benjamin Arthur, signed from Brentford on loan. Junior Adamu, signed from Freiburg on loan, who scored at the weekend. Adam Montgomery returns from Livingston on loan. Stephen Welch again to the revolving door. Thomas Schwanjada, signed from Borussia Mönchengladbach on loan. And Darajo, did he sign in January too, or no?
He did. Start of the window.
Start of the window.
And out of them all, he looks a pick of the bunch.
He could be Nancy's legacy. He's the only player that he's signed. He does look really good.
And the guys went. Johnny Kenny went on loan to Bolton Wanderers. Stephen Welch again went to Motherwell. Toby Aluwayemi went to Leighton Orient on the Slough fee. All right, so there you go. I mean, wasn't exactly set the headlines on fire, but I don't know if any of us expected us to spend big money. But I mean, the goal at the weekend, I suppose, maybe answers some kind of question. despite the game not being necessarily brilliant and the performance not being superb. But again, I suppose you look on the bright side, Marty, as you said, it's better to have them there than wonder where you can find them.
I would say I'm most excited about Oxlade-Chamberlain out of all the.
I
was going to say, Joe, you never mentioned.
He was. I forgot about him. Oxlade-Chamberlain. Sorry, he totally out of my mind there. Oxlade-Chamberlain as well. I came in. He was he a free agent or what? The story there?
Yeah.
Didn't have a club.
And watch his interview. He comes across as a fucking decent guy. Hopefully he's
we've
still
got him for 6 months with an option for next year if he can obviously prove his fitness and prove that he's an addition. See, at the end of the day, if he can prove his fitness, he'll definitely be a player for us. But that's the if, you know. But fingers crossed. You know, he's a class act, so fingers crossed. But we'll wait and see. Obviously, that's Martin and Liam Maloney that's got that out of the line. I don't know. Maybe if Tierney then today or whatever with the Arsenal
Joe
connection.
Hart, apparently.
Joe Hart as well, apparently. Joe Hart sprinkled in there.
I mean, the thing is, Joe Hart should we've said for years that's the type of guy we should be signing at Celtic. We should have a couple of them in the team at all times. See guys that's kind of been top class players. I mean, he's 31. So guys that's been top class players but have kind of lost their way a bit, that you're giving them an opportunity to come and play with a massive club, win things, potentially play in Europe. You know, it's a big selling point coming to somebody like Celtic, and you get a guy like Joe Hart there that he's like an unofficial ambassador for the club, you know, for the way he waxes lyrical about his time at Celtic, etc. So I've got no qualms about a signing like that. That's the kind of guys I think we should be going for.
Yeah, I'd entirely forgotten about the guy until his name came up. I was like, it wasn't even a player I even thought about in a long, long time. Almost kind of convinced he'd retired.
Is there still rumours about that Bakayoko as well?
Really?
There was because he's a free agent as well. French guy.
Yeah, he looks a unit, doesn't he? Like a proper player.
But
at the end of the day, I mean, like you're like the plan here is to steal your stuff as much as possible towards definitely the next 6 to 7 games. 6 games mainly, I suppose, isn't it really? Next 6 games are kind of fucking massive. And just to try and get it over the line, if possible. I do have faith now, despite these saying it's not being, you know, amazingly fucking, you know, impressive. I do have faith that it can be done. And probably should happen. But there's just a cloud over this season already. I don't think it's going to go away. I mean, and that's really bothering me.
Yeah. I'm a bit worried about the Aberdeen game being postponed and then slung in the middle of those fixtures. I don't know, Jason. I don't think you went up, did you? I can't remember, but I think it was really shit the fact that they left it till that time to even have an inspection. When you bear in mind, I mean, what's going to have changed? It wasn't like it was pouring rain all day. They had loads of rain prior to that game, but it wasn't pouring down from the start of the day all the way through. That game could have been called off at 8 o'clock in the morning or 10 o'clock in the morning quite easily. Didn't need to that, which was validated by the fact that the Saturday game was called off only a day or so later as well. So. Bit of a shit show then, dropping that right in the middle of these away fixtures we've got.
Yep. Aye. So we've got 4 away games in 10 days.
Yeah.
Stuttgart, 2 games at Ibrox and Aberdeen.
Yeah.
Yep. No ideal, but at the end of the day, you need to play them, you need to win them. So
yeah.
And we have got bodies in now, so hopefully, although there was a few changes on Saturday and it didn't work out as planned, I don't know if we want to discuss the Dundee game.
Yeah.
I have to go off for 2 seconds. He's far ahead.
I thought, I don't know about you being at the game, Liam, but I thought Celtic were pretty poor. I thought Dundee were really good.
Yeah.
They didn't give us a minute in the ball, pressed us high. Aye. They had a good few chances when they scored, it kind of wasn't undeserved. And I just didn't see us getting back in it, and then the way we did was just fucking mad. You know, there's a funny thing. See, when Tierney went down injured in injury time, and he stayed down. I said to Sean and Mac, I says, "This could win us the game."
Right.
They're like to me, "What?" And I'm like, "Well, I'll add a couple of minutes on, and we're still going to have a few because it was a couple of minutes into injury time when he went down. He was down for a couple of minutes.
Yeah,
just for something in my head saying we're going to get another couple of minutes here." And fair play to Stephen Presley's interview after it. You know, he was very magnanimous. You know, he was obviously devastated, but he didn't. Because they were saying there was 7 minutes played. You know, there was only 5 added, but there was an injury. You know, and the 7 minutes was fine. And he didn't use that as a stick to beat Andy. You know.
I thought Tierney had gone down about the 87th minute or something. I remember mentioning it at the game.
Was it the 87th? I can't really remember.
I'd like to check it back because I remember at the game saying he's added 5 minutes on, but Tierney's been on the deck for like, 2 or 3 minutes there. It didn't feel like he'd incorporated Tierney's injury into the. I need to double check that, mate.
I'm pretty sure the board. I'm pretty sure the board had went up before Tierney went down injured.
Right,
Hence the reason why we played on. It must have been. They wouldn't have played 7 minutes.
Because he called 5 minutes and then we scored just before 96. I thought it was just before 95, 50, something or whatever. I thought we'd scored, but could have been after that. But yeah, I mean, it didn't look like we were getting a goal for love nor money, to be honest with you. But we started bright enough for the first 15 minutes, but then kind of the big Thomas up front. I can't pronounce his name as good as Joe. Thought he had some really smart touches. Do you know what I mean? Some really nice little.
Yeah, it looks all right.
Yeah. Because against Hearts, I was pretty worried about him because he wasn't even like challenging for headers and stuff. He was just running into defenders. But it looks like he's got a good touch on him. He can bring the ball down. He can link people in, which is really good as well, which I liked about him. And I thought we looked fairly bright. The winger that we had on the right hand side, he looked rapid, but not so good with the ball at his feet, unfortunately. But you've got to give him a bit of time. So he was getting around the pitch and stuff and looked lively enough, but didn't look like he was going to be beating players too often and getting balls in. I was quite shocked that Iniacho wasn't in the squad. So I don't know what the story behind that is, because
that's odd, isn't it? There was a couple of decisions at the start too. Angles obviously not been there after keeping.
Maida.
Yeah, them two I could understand because I played a lot of games, right? So I could understand them two getting a rest. But Iniacho needed game time, and that was a perfect game to give him game time.
But surely you keep your big guns on the bench. You know, you give them a rest, but we were crying out for Maida.
Yeah.
You know, and it was. I've just checked. It was 90 plus 7 minutes we scored, Liam. I'm sure it was.
Okay.
But what about the penalty we should have got as well?
2?
Yeah. I thought it was a pen.
Aye.
Of course it was. It was a penalty, for fuck's sake. And that other fucking.
Their explanation was just didn't make sense whatsoever.
No, definitely didn't.
I know.
And that one where Douglas Ross flagged, the ball was still about a foot in play. Like, fuck off.
He's a cunt, by the way. I didn't even realise that was him. I was shouting at him half the game and not realising who it was. See, even the corners that McCowan was taking at the end of the game, he was fucking standing in the triangle thing and like examining the ball. And then when the ball was in the right place, he actually had his foot like past the corner flag, if you know what I mean. Like he was encroaching on McCowan's space when he was trying to take the corners. It was unbelievable. Well, it wasn't unbelievable, but as it turned out,
unbelievable.
Yeah. But at the time,
but I've said for years, Liam, see if the officials want to insert themselves into the game, you should be allowed to fucking tackle them.
Yeah, yeah. It's one thing that does piss me off. The team are pretty weak. See that time? See when what's his name, Murray smashed into KT? It was a terrible challenge that he put on him. But some of our players should have him by the fucking throat when he does stuff like that.
Aye.
So passive, man, for that sort of stuff.
Yeah. I know. Sinisalo, I thought Sinisalo did all right. I don't know.
I thought he was good.
Their goal was a cracker, so you can't really blame him for that.
Yeah, I thought he was good when he played at the end of last season. I've been a bit less impressed with him when he's come in this season. I don't know whether that's just lack of opportunity or.
Aye. Must be tough for a goalkeeper, but the odd game. But I thought he looked all right. But I mean, what a way to win! But the collective smashing of tellies and whatever would have been happening because that was, that was the Scottish Cup was kind of wrapped up for them basically. Well, name a Motherwell, you would think Motherwell would be fancying it.
Well, to be fair, mate, with the songbook from the away end, it sounded like half of them were at the game, to be honest with you.
That's all you could hear on the TV as well.
Oh, Jesus, man.
Yep. It was a point I made to the fucking happy clappers who were decrying the Green Brigade. I says, it was like 40 minutes in or something. It was like they're on to their fucking sixth verse of Glasgow Celtic paedophiles. So. But the match itself, I mean, we were busy looking, but like Yang and Hatate would put you off watching football. Like they're just fucking brutal. Hatate did nothing, and Yang was playing against himself again. Like if ever a fucking player need coached, it's him. You know what I mean? It's just constant balls back to himself, falling over his own fucking feet, inability to pass 5 yards, trying to pass 20 yards when he should have been passing fucking 4. Like it's just like, what the fuck are you doing, son? My God.
I'd give him a pass. I think he's been okay, to be honest. In general terms, he's been one of our better players recently, but he wasn't brilliant at the weekend there. Tati, I'm done with. I've been done with him for a while. He just,
I know.
Especially if the Ox comes in and like makes an impact straight away. You think I don't see us seeing much of a Tati. Quick question for you: I'm quite a Bernardo fan. I thought Bernardo was decent in the first half, but obviously he got hooked again. Was he really shit? Was I just imagining that?
I don't think anybody was particularly bad in the sense that they were awful. Like again, it was just like that kind of chaos ball stuff for me. I was looking at going. I mean, you were waiting on a goal getting off somebody's arse, but it just didn't come. And you were like, the longer this goes on, you're starting to worry because we had first 20 minutes like we should have been fucking out of sight. I thought they played all right. I thought they had a decent game against us. They weren't bad opposition at all. But just for the caliber of fucking player we should have on our team, it's just not right. Like, and as I say, with the big striker coming in and stuff, can't really, as Jason was saying, like with our goal, you can't really blame the big guy because he doesn't know who he's playing with yet. And you're praying he gets goals just to keep his, packer up sort of thing until he can work out a rhythm with somebody. And I mean, there was even talk today on the huddle board about people saying we really should switch to 4-4-2, give him a partner and get on with for the rest of the season. So it's a tough one and it's a cup match. It's not a league match. I suppose probably Wednesday night will probably tell you more tale.
Do you know what's interesting? But do you find that Celtic now, right? We don't really manufacture goals for midfield. Every goal we get comes down the flanks.
Yeah, and in fairness, that's O'Neill's game. That's the game O'Neill always played. Bombing wingers and crosses in.
I get that, but see the thing is, Marty. See, I'm a great believer. You win or lose games in your midfield. If you control the midfield, we don't really control the midfield in many games these days.
And I think I was Liam's point there about Oxlade-Chamberlain if he was.
Aye.
To be in any sort of form, he's the type of player that you're looking to come in. He's not prolific. He's not that type of player. He never was. No. He's a game manager for you. He's a TikToker, and somebody who can put his foot through the ball. So if you could get him working in midfield, takes pressure off McGregor. I think McGregor's suffering too because he's been expected to do everything. Do you know what I mean? And it's not working. You're like, don't do everything. Fuck's sake. Get a fucking system here, stick to it, sort of thing.
Aye, and I need to put my apologies to Sebastian Tonecki. I'm not his biggest fan, and that's understatement of the century. But if he wasn't on the park, we wouldn't have been in the next round of that draw.
Yeah,
it was outstanding for both goals.
And another games you could have said the same in Negrin. You've been critical of him, but at the end of the fucking day, he's put the ball in the back of net, won us a match, got his points, got us through, whatever. It's just like Scott McCurry's mantra: just win, just get the fucking win.
I know.
And like we were in the PD, loads of people who I would have expected to be at the game, they weren't. They were in the bar. The place was bunged, and the fucking roof near come off, and when that last minute fucking equaliser went in, it was just boom, it's total fucking relief. Just relief.
I know.
Sheer relief.
I think,
It was even when the winner went in, it was great, but see when the equaliser went in, fucking hell.
yeah. I think what you're creating here now is, we can. The transfer window was underwhelming for me, but Tanecki's a really good example. If you make the first 11 stronger, more physical, and then you start to bring these sort of players on after an hour against teams that are starting to tire. We've not had that really this season, like people off the bench that can turn a game for us. But if Tanecki and Negrin, these are the sort of players you're bringing on. Others in the Acho, you go into a much bigger standard than like the likes of Shin and players like that we've been relying on, earlier in the season. So you've just got to hope the collective of the players is going to give us that edge for what we need.
Yeah, you're right, 100%. Because at the start of the season, your first 11 that was decent, but if they didn't perform, you were looking at that bench and you're just saying, "What are we doing here?" It was just an absolute clusterfuck. But with hopefully now getting bodies, if any actual can stay fit to the end of the season, you've got Adamu there, and you've got Big Tam or whatever. I don't want to pronounce his surname. So you've got three centre forwards in it. So it's 1 out of 3. But you're thinking to yourself, and I'm no against the 4-4-2, but it's just no the done thing in the modern day nowadays, which I'm sure it will come back. I'm sure some manager will go with it, but I think Big Tam would be good with somebody next to him,
Yeah.
But then, as I say, we're not really creating anything for the midfield, and you're making your midfield weaker by playing with 4-4-2 on paper. But teams aren't really set up to defend against teams playing 4-4-2, so why not? Your defence is still the same. It's just your midfield's different, and I don't think you're creating much for midfield anyway. But I wouldn't be against it. But we'll wait and see. Martin O'Neill's wily enough to understand if that's something that we could do going forward. But you're weakening your midfield. If you're still playing with wingers, you've only really got 2 midfielders, which could be problematic. But we'll wait and see. But it's all about getting the W, and Martin O'Neill seems to have the Midas touch of getting the W these days. So I'm a bit more positive looking towards the end of the season than I was a few weeks ago. And I'm okay with the transfer window, to be honest with you. As I say, I don't really know. Your lad that started, your Joel Muka or Vuka or whatever, don't know about him. Bit early, but didn't look great. But I think Arajo looks a good player. Yeah. Definitely. Tierney's coming onto a game at left back. You're trusting Scales, I'm okay with them. So defensively, and obviously we've got some backup now as well in the defence, because you've got Sriracha there as well.
Yeah, he's good. He's good.
He is good, definitely. So I'm okay with the defence. I would have preferred a better goalkeeper, but it is what it is. To be fair, Schmeichel has been pretty good of late. So he actually made a good save. Wasn't it? Obviously, he wasn't playing, but he did make a good save down at his left now. We're saying he couldn't dive to his left there. I was watching it, and he made a diving save to, I think it was against Falkirk.
Yeah.
He made a dive to his left. It was a right good save. But,
yeah. Hearts as well. He did some decent saves at Hearts. Just doesn't come off his line, does he? But it's interesting. He had an injection in the shoulder again at the weekend there.
Has he?
That's what O'Neill said in his. That's why he wasn't in this. I don't know if he wouldn't have played anyway, but O'Neill said he'd had to have an injection for his shoulder. So
what a fucking stupid thing to say. And
I know.
I was thinking that.
I can tell nobody. I know. And you just know if it goes to a penalty, fucking it's at his left, isn't it?
Yep. He ain't going to fucking jump for it.
No, he's not saving any penalties for us.
I put my fucking head in my hand when I heard him saying it out loud. I was like, what the fuck?
Imagine you go to Ibrox, you get that full Broomland Road and it goes to penalties, you're just fucking walking out, aren't you? Catches.
I think we can probably enjoy the game Wednesday. I think we can probably relax and enjoy the game Wednesday. But after that, it's fucking squeaky bum time. I think all the way in.
Well, you would think it's the ideal game for us.
Yeah.
You know, hopefully it's a full crowd. With a miracle, you would hope the Green Brigade will be back in, but I can't really see that. But fingers crossed. There's obviously, I don't know. There's meetings being planned. I don't know when they're planned for. So we'll wait and see what comes of that. Brian Wilson's obviously been on Celtic TV and says he's reached out and whatever. And by all accounts, there is going to be meetings. So fingers crossed, things start to get resolved, and bit by bit, we start to achieve our objectives, and get the fans back in would be a great start.
Yeah, definitely.
And by God, we need it. Can you imagine the run into the season with that kind of atmosphere at Celtic Park?
Yeah.
It's fucking criminal.
Oof.
It's criminal. You know? So it's got to happen rapidly.
I agree with everything you said. I watched the game in Davy Burns pub in Budapest on Saturday with two lads.
Oh, how did it go?
Oh, great, man. Great city. Great place to go and visit. Great weekend. And nearly get knocked out in the pub, would you believe? Right?
You nearly get knocked out.
All right, what do you hear this, right? This
is that a good punch?
No, what do you hear this, right? So in this Davy Burns pub, they're getting a spiral staircase that goes up, right? So we're sitting there to watch the game. It was me and Tomo and Kieran from Cope Bridge who were there chatting away. Two good times. Me and them two and Fiona sitting watching the game. And I was like, I'll go get some ice downstairs from a drink. Downstairs, got the ice, come back upstairs and missed the way spiral staircases, the stairs go in and they get thinner. Right?
Aye.
Missed the top step, went down, right? Spilled half a glass of ice, right? And then as I tried to kind of stave myself from falling, I went fucking face first into this wooden unit, right? Right on the, I swear to God, right on the fucking corner of the unit, right? And it caught me, right? It caught me just right in the fleshy part around my ear and the back of my jaw, right? And didn't do any damage. Hurt like fuck, right? I was a bit swollen and bruised. But see an inch the other way, and I smashed my jaw or I smashed my fucking eyeball or fucking, I was fucking stunned. Anyway, I sat there watching the game.
See this pub, Joe, right? See when you walk into it, it's all wood.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a big bar down the stairs, and then it's got a bit at the back, and then you can go up the stairs.
There's an upstairs part, like a spiral staircase thing that kind of looks over the main bar.
I'm sure that's the pub you were in when we went to Budapest.
It's right there by the river.
Oh, no, it's a different pub then. This was a 10-15 minute walk for the river.
This is like literally a block away from the river. But I know, I should nearly fucking got my face smashed. But by the grace of God, it fucking literally corner of this thing hit me in a fucking fleshy part of my neck and just left me with a bit of a bruise. Madness. But great crack watching the game and just just sitting and enjoying it. I mean, and the game wasn't great. There was plenty of kind of drama and tension and a lot to kind of pick through. I agree with you, Jason, on Tenetki. Like, I mean, I've kind of been harsh on too, but I get the feeling that the kind of change in personnel, the new players coming in, might invigorate a guy like that. I mean, I feel like maybe he's some of his sort of talent or his endeavor or his courage or his ability to go for it has been affected by, basically how fucking shit things have been and how up and down it's all been. So I think maybe if we can kind of get to some sort of semblance of stability where you'll turn up and know what kind of football you're going to see and what the lineup may possibly be, I think players like that may start to shine towards the end of the season. That's my hope.
Without a doubt, he won us the game.
He was fantastic.
So when did you get back to Budapest?
Literally got back in the house about 2:00 Sunday afternoon. So we left on Thursday at like 7:00 flight, and then we're there on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then back to the airport for about fucking.
Was it freezing?
It actually wasn't. It was actually better than what the weather here. It was pissing rain here, right? Storm here over there. Like it had been snowing there the other week, but there was still snow on the ground a bit. But it was all melting, and it was kind of quite mild. So it was bang on. Like it was a great city.
Good.
Getting around's dead easy. Went to the thermal bath, did the cruise in Danube. Had loads of good grub to go and have. I mean, just fucking kicking about. No kids, no responsibilities.
Did you go across the river to Pest?
Just crossed the river a bit. Didn't really go into Pest because it's more the older part of the city. I mean, but I love all that kind of. It's kind of a Soviet place. I love like looking at buildings and going like,
Oh, it's brilliant, isn't it?
I love that shit, man. They look like this is old. Even the apartment kind of sweet place we were staying in, I looked at the fucking back window and you're going like, this is like, even you're walking around going like, this is definitely a Soviet block fucking. We used to be a Soviet block of flats. They've turned it into these suites. And I was like, I love shit like that, man.
That's fascinating, isn't it?
I love it. And it's beautiful architecture. There's loads of great wee cool pubs and spots to go to, and I really, really enjoy it. I'll definitely go back. I'd love to go in the summer when they have like festivals and shit on. You know what I mean?
And the weather be great as well in the summer. They get a roasting in the summer.
Aye. So no, definitely. That's my tip. Just watch yourself. They actually moved that fucking corner unit after I smashed my fucking skull off it. Everybody knows the pub, but she was, you all right? I was like, actually, I am. Oddly enough, I'm actually fine. And she gave me an ace. And she's like, I'm going to move that unit. I said, oh, you probably should.
Joe, nobody on the podcast will be surprised if fell landed on your head without any impact, mate. Nobody.
Fell up the stairs, Liam. Up the stairs.
Did you go to any of the boozers with the rooftop bars with the igloo things on them?
Nah, I didn't do any of that stuff.
Nah.
Just fucking, a lot of it was just kind of kicking about, exploring the city, and just fucking popping into places for breakfast, a bit of lunch, a bit of drink here, and just buzzing about.
Good, excellent.
Great crack. I would shout the Tomo and Kieran, two boys from Coatbridge. Like I said, he's in the text. Both ends of the fucking Coatbridge spectrum.
So they just there for a weekend as well.
Two best mates from fucking from their kids. You know what I mean? Great crack, man. Just great chatting to them, getting a buzz off them, having a good laugh. It's good.
So what about longers are you giving us a wee rundown of your Bologna trip?
Yeah. Nothing too exciting, but great trip, great city. Went in through Milan, just flew to Dublin, then Dublin to Milan. That seems to be my new route now. Train down from Milan into Bologna. That was good. Met up with a few of the boys.
Was the train about 90 minutes or something?
It was just under an hour from the airport, and then but I think Bergamo I flew into, and then into the centre, and then just about an hour and 5 minutes. Just about into Bologna, an hour and 10 minutes. Wasn't bad at all. We were the first stop from Milan. It was a fast train, so Bologna was the first stop on that one.
Oh, so you didn't fly into Milan, you flew into Bergamo?
No, I flew into, I thought Bergamo was Milan airport, no?
Oh, Bergamo was where Atalanta flew.
I must have, I went Malpensa maybe, then I went to.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but one of them.
Malpensa. Right, okay.
Malpensa, and got the train in. But I got a bit of lucky in the airport because the plane landed, because I'd flown from Dublin. Everyone was kind of going towards the passport control for UK. I hadn't seen the other one, and then the guys like, no, non-UK come this way. So all the Irish obviously went down that way, and I just jumped in with them, and then got to the desk, and the guys like, what you doing? You shouldn't be here with that passport. And I don't know, just tried to waffle a bit and blag my way through, and thankfully you let me through. So probably saved myself an hour or two at the airport, which was good. Got down to Milan about 8 or 9 o'clock at night, met Big Craig, Big Jock, a few of the boys, met Cologne South, as you always do on the away trips. It just reminded myself, he gave me a lot of cards to talk about on the podcast, but I've got no idea what I've done with them. I'll find them. I think, there they are, actually. So he gave me these cards, which are the European Association of Celtic Supporters. And there's a website address here which we'll share on the socials, but it's something I think he's involved in setting up, like a European Celtic Fans Association. So
come on, Ross. Ross is always carrying stickers and stuff, and he's always carrying stuff.
Yeah. Exactly. So we'll share that link out. We can share that in the socials, and maybe even get him on for 10 minutes some point to talk it through with us if it's something he's trying to get off the ground and launch. So that was great. So first night wasn't nothing too mad. Got there quite late on, and the next day just met up during the day. Kind of walked through the square where the fans were congregating, but just kind of wandered around. So we'd found a quiet spot, which the bar was pretty much empty. We'd agreed to meet all the Basque boys or the Bilbao boys who had been up at Atalanta the night before, seen an Athletic win up there. So 3 legends that came down and met us in there, which was brilliant. Managed to take over the bar. Guys were great in there. Plenty of ham baguettes for the whole day, keeping us well fed. I think Big Jock had about 10 of them. But there's a guy who listens to the show religiously every week, a guy, Peter, who lives out in Malta. It's quite unusual. And he'd won, I think, Joe, he'd won your tickets or some other tickets in the raffle a couple of years back and got in touch with me to say, look, I'm in Malta. I don't get back very often, so I can't use them just now. But I just told him to keep in touch with me if he was ever coming over, and we'd get him sorted for a game. So he got in touch with me just before I went over to Bologna to see if I was going, and said he was going over and he wanted to meet up with us, which he did. Him and his wife and his pal from Clydebank, who were brilliant company. And him and his wife are actually interested in going over to Africa and helping Sean, volunteering with Sean. Similar to what you'd mentioned, Joe. They've got some friends and some contacts over in Africa as well, and we're hoping to be able to go and kind of give them a hand and see what they could do to help. So it was a pretty unique bunch that we had in the bar together, really, from all corners of the globe. Yeah, as is the norm. But we just had a brilliant time there. Got the speaker on the Bluetooth, got the tunes on, put some athletic songs on for the boys as well, so that was good. And then just ignored the whole buses and all that stuff. Just got on the local bus, literally just on the local bus, got some beers, and then just walked up to the stadium. Didn't see any bother. Chatting to the locals, absolutely fine. Got into the ground, say with the three boys.
Was there any hassle with the names on the tickets? They were talking about it beforehand.
Not for them, but so Martin, when I got there, Martin O'Brien was there, and his ticket wasn't scanning. Jason, he was going off his nut. So I grabbed him because I thought he was going to get lifted. So I grabbed him and pulled him over to my turnstile, but it just was, he was scanning and it was blocking him. So he ended up missing the game altogether. So you can imagine how.
Had he?
Yeah.
Wow,
nobody was helping him at all. And the guy, Peter's pal from Clydebank, he'd picked up an away ticket, and I'd said to him, just come with me and we'll try and get you in. So he tried to scan, get in. He couldn't get in because it was in a different name. And that kind of the security guy from Celtic, you'd recognise him, Jason, from with the glasses and the kind of little goatee beard. You'd recognise him from away games. He was kind of saying, look, nothing we can do just now, but if you hang about, we'll see what we can do a bit later. So I think that seems to be the norm now, that they wait till near a kick-off and then just let the people in. Because he said afterwards he managed to get in. But we got through the turnstiles, me, your Sabre and the boys. Obviously they had the flags with them. They got a massive search on them for about 10 minutes once we got in the ground, but fuck knows why. And then we got went into the ground, and it's pretty cool play, pretty old stadium.
Aye, looks nice.
Celtic fans everywhere. There was a neutral section next to us, which was just all Celtic fans. Craig and Jock, they end up in the home end, and they loved it. They were just literally halfway line, right at the front, just pint after pint after pint through the game. So, and no bother getting in and out. And then obviously we managed to score a couple of goals, which was pretty freakish from previous experience. So almost a carbon copy of the first goal, wasn't it, of the goal we got against Feyenoord with the keeper just kind of giving it away. So that was great. And then I didn't realise that Tatty had been booked. So I thought that challenge he got sent off for was a straight red. And I couldn't really see what he'd done at the time, but watching it back,
stupid.
Yeah. It was. He's just doing everyone's head in just now. So you're just thinking of, here we go. But then the second goal was right in front of us as well. So you're buzzing with that. But 10 men, I thought we played a bit too deep for my liking the second half. I thought we should have maybe just put the game.
Wild. It was hard fucking heart in the mouth stuff. And
yeah.
I thought we were actually lucky to get out with a draw. With the amount of pressure that they had.
Yeah.
And towards the end of the game, we started coming out a wee bit, and when it went 2 each, we kind of looked a bit better then than we did when it was 2-0 and 2-1.
Yeah.
We just basically sat back and let them come at us.
Yeah. I thought we were just way too deep, and it was such a long. The second half felt like it lasted about 3 hours, man.
Yeah.
And especially given the 2 goals away, not early, but not near the end as well. But so I was really pleased to see us come through, and they ran out of steam a bit near the end of the game. I don't think they were much cop, to be honest with you. I know last year they had a good season, but I don't think they were up to much this year. So I think with a full team, we'd have probably won that game comfortably. But two games back to back without getting beaten in Europe, for me, that's nothing short of a miracle.
No,
So
really good.
you take that all day long. Just back into the town, a few pints on the night and stuff. We got the buses back. We got kept in for an hour or whatever. Got the buses back, which took us on a fucking tour of Bologna for some reason. Took forever to drop us back into the town. Just got a few pints and stuff in the town, bit of food, which was good, and then met Sarah and Gary as with every away trip. They were in the bar with us as well. I forgot about them. They were in the bar with us too. Kieran as well, and then next day, me and Jock went up to Verona, and we were going back through Verona to Manchester on the Saturday. Didn't do my research on Verona, Jason.
Check in with the local Nazi party.
Yeah. So as it turned out, yeah. So I had no idea about Verona. I was actually looking to see if they were playing on the Friday, but the bottom of Serie A. So I've got my token Celtic scarf on my bag as per usual. So is it just a cool little place? We just want to wander around the shops and a few bars. Friday nights, you're expecting it to be, a lot busier. A few wine bars, which is it's just really cool to see all these cool looking people drinking glasses of red wine. There's no one on beer apart from me and Jock, I think, in the whole place. And then went to this kind of livelier big bar. I'm saying to Jock, this doesn't feel right at all, man. This feels like we're in the fucking deepest dark parts of America here, man. Fucking proper rednecks everywhere, shaved skulls, big tattooed heads and stuff. That was dressed up as some motorcycle or vintage car club, but I'm like, this feels fucking seriously moody, man. I sent you the photos, Jason, I think, didn't I? The ones I'd taken there. So
in my mind, it's you and Jack at the Blue Oyster in Police Academy.
Mate, honestly, I'll send them. I'll put them in the chat there. But it was well shady in there, man. So, but we'd been bevying all afternoon, so we weren't that bothered at the time. But I didn't realise what do you say, Jason's the most fascist part of Italy?
Well, the aim since the 70s, mad ultra right wing, their support, all right, big time.
Right.
If you do a quick Google, just Google Havas Verona supporters. There's fucking all sorts there. They've been chucking bananas on the park and all that, and they've got swastikas, Celtic crosses now. That's one of the symbols for fascism. They've got all that Nazi salutes at games and stuff. Aye, they're fucking rabid.
Well, we definitely landed in there. They weren't their ultras, but we definitely have that mindset, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, Big Jack's got that fucking gigantism. They're like, oh, fucking no, fuck me, no, fucking. Davis had to claim him to get a punch in.
Just as well, you'd no Celtic stuff on or that, because they would have been well clued up in that. You would have got fucking leathered. Well,
I normally would. I mean, that was really unusual for me not to be wearing something like that on a trip. So just pure luck. That I never.
See, when I seen you tagging yourself, I says, "What the fuck's he doing there?" how far away was that from Bologna?
Just an hour again, mate. So that was a thing. I was looking because Donna was meant to go originally, and then she decided not to come. So because we were going to be away on the Friday anyway, we said, "Well, why don't we just stay over Friday night and then go back Saturday?" But at that point, I couldn't find any decent flights from Bologna or Milan or whatever. And then we found this one from Verona to Manchester for like 18 quid at like 11 o'clock on the Saturday. So I thought that's ideal then. And we were going to stay in Bologna and just travel through, but you have to get a taxi to the airport in Verona. There's no train or anything there. So I thought, can't be asked leaving Bologna at 6 a.m. to get to Verona to get to the airport. So we just said, we'll stay in Verona and just see another city sort of thing. It's all right. It's pretty small. It's got like a Colosseum thing, but a much smaller version, obviously, than the proper one. But I didn't get round and see that much while we were there. But yeah, it looks like we had a lucky escape from the local thing, so which is good. But yeah, so
I told you I was there a couple of months ago. I ended up walking out of the fucking station in the middle of a big anti-fascist rally. It was great.
In Verona.
There had been a spate of murders in Verona. There was a young African guy beat to death at the station, and the fucking cops were doing fuck all about it. They wouldn't even investigate it, and the family complained about the murder, and they wouldn't give the wee lad's body back. and they were trying to ban the family from Italy and all this fucking shit. So we were right. It was only our sure. Remember, I was there in October, so it was.
I
So
didn't realise that.
God bless everyone anti-fascists.
That's good to hear. That's good.
Well,
It might have been all right after all.
that's that one off the weekend break list anyway. All right.
Oh,
Do you know what?
it's
It's
a
a nice
lovely
little
wee
place,
place.
man.
It's
Nice
very
little
small,
place.
but
Yeah.
I was saying this about it the other day. You can walk around Verona in about an hour. It's a tiny
Yeah.
wee town, like, but pretty. It's where fucking Juliet's house is. From
No, the sounds
fucking
of a fucking Jack and Liam are running around it in 25 minutes for fuck's sake.
So,
Jason.
no. As Jason says, Hellas Verona is well fucking known.
so was that when you were in Como, Marty? Was it quite close to there?
I wasn't in Como. I was in Desenzano del Garda, down at the bottom of Lake Garda. So it's on that train. The train runs along from Venice, basically to fucking Milan, along that stretch, and Verona
Right.
and Vicenza, and there's about 5 of them big cities that you would know are all just in a row along along the railway line there. So yeah, it's a lovely wee place, but as I say, you can be fucking hurry at times, and them two clearly found a hurry spot.
We were fine, mate. We were oblivious to anything, mate. So
Never doubted you, mate. Never doubted you.
Kicking about oblivious like a couple of fucking Griswolds. Fuck's sake.
honestly, it'd be typical me. That would fucking to stumble into that.
Did you see that? Did you see that video in Italy the day for the motorway in Puglia? Where I
See
got
the haste? The haste?
Aye. Do you know what?
Good
See,
man.
when we were there, right? Big Benji told us, he says, that part of Italy is probably the most rabid with mafia still doing their stuff. And he says at night, because he was in a pint at the car and all that way, man, what are you doing? He says, nobody stops you at night here. The police don't stop him in a car at night. We were only a walking distance away from him. I'm like, you're off your fucking nut. But and he says nobody stops them at night because it could be the mafia or whatever. He says so the cops just, and then it showed you that's the main road for Brindisi into Lecce. Fucking, did you see it, Marty and Liam?
Yeah, I
No,
saw
I
a
haven't
clip
seen it,
earlier.
no.
Yeah.
So
Where was
basically,
it on the internet?
it's all our Twitter and everything. So basically, they've stopped a Securicorps van right in the middle of the motorway, and they've got out there in fake police cars, and they've got out with submachine guns and everything. Fucking blew a bomb under it or something, and blew the fuck of the van. And all these folk are filming it for the other side of the motorway, looking at it. And all these folk with Hamza suits on and balaclavas and fucking submachine guns. It just happened today in Puglia. Fucking nuts.
They blew the fucking doors off. If you watch the video, you can see the boy walk away, lose his phone, come back, and then he gets fucking blown to bits. Like, fuck me.
It says nobody was hurt, nobody was killed or anything.
But they arrested them all, didn't they?
I see a couple of them get arrested. I was reading the translation, obviously.
Mental. Imagine that. Imagine just sitting in traffic going like, oh,
Middle of the day.
Middle of the day.
On a motorway.
You're trying to creep by rubberneck and go, what the fuck's going on here?
Oh, and all these folk are filming it, and the guys are cutting about with submachine guns. I'd have been getting to fuck.
I'd have been filming it by rearview mirror going, see that?
I fucking send a drone up and I'll watch it when I get in the house.
Listen, I've got to jump in 5, but I just wanted to mention as well the boy Kev McCarthy, who listens to the show all the time too. He was up for the Falkirk game. Joe, you've spoke to him before. I know you've done some stuff with tickets with him, and he's a great guy. Him and his 4 pals from London, all from Irish families, and absolutely love coming up for the games, the Celtic games. Great company. Had a few pints with them. His boy I've met before as well, sorted him out tickets, and he's currently out in South America. So he'd shared some of his photos, which I've obviously shared in the group chat as well. So he's a really good guy, and I think he'd been listening to your bucket list trip, Jason, about going to Argentina. So I think he said he's got some ticket contacts to help out for that whenever you get over there. But good crowd, good set of guys, and a good few pints with them. I met them in the toll booth. They were in from like 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock or something, and there was 4 Bayern Munich fans in there. I think I sent you the photograph, man. You'd have spotted they were German a fucking absolute mile away. There was no disguising them, but yeah, good set of guys. So just a wee shout to them.
Thanks, one.
Top class.
What else? Is there anything else we have, or should we just wrap it up to fuck?
You know what?
wrap it up, I think, and then get a
Yeah,
drunken
so
one
we'll
on.
try and get on maybe again at the end of the week or whatever.
Yeah.
It's good to get
Aye.
just one under the belt.
Exactly. Just give the people what they want. I mean, Scott McCrory hopefully will be on back and give us more insight on the collective. And we didn't want to really go into too much of that tonight because speaking of the school, I suppose, to a degree.
I think, Joe, I think it's just really interesting as to, like we've all said, I think the bike up was a massive success at the weekend. So it's really interesting as to, where the collective's going forward.
I suppose the overall kind of chat that we want Scott to kind of have with us, or anybody from the collective, really, I suppose, is the kind of sort of response to Celtic reaching out individually to people, and that sort of politicking that we've talked about for fucking months now. You know what I mean? Which only seeks to exploit possible gaps in a unified front. Anyway, that's something I think we want to let Scott kind of drill down on a bit when he comes back. Get well, Scott. Folks, that was good fun. Glad to get that done. We should be back sooner than 4 weeks, unless it all goes to the fuck again.
Famous last words, George.
Exactly. Right. Yeah, folks, lads, that was good fun.
Cheers.
Farewell.
Yeah.